I've been using YouTube Music for about 6 months now, and I wanted to give my experience and my opinion on whether I think it's worth purchasing and how it compares to Spotify and Apple Music. So let's get into it. So first off, I'd like to talk about the prices. So I'm going to quote these prices in Australian dollars. For the individual plan, for YouTube Premium is $14.99, the student plan is $8.99, and the family plan, which is what I'm on because I share it with my wife, is $22.99 per month. For anyone who's never seen or ever used YouTube Music before, let me show you what the app looks like. So there's 3 tabs. You've got the Home, Explore, and Library. At the top of the home page, you've got an area dedicated for Mixed for Use. This is a playlist collection, several playlists based on the music that you like. You've got Listen Again, Your Music Tuner, which I've never actually used, but I'm eager to look into it. Quick Picks, got recommended playlists, similar music, forgotten favorites, trending songs, recommended music videos, different genres and styles of music, recommended radio, recommended albums, new releases, covers and mixes, and it just keeps on going. Looking at the Explore page, we've got new releases, charts, moods and genres, new albums and singles, top songs, moods and genre list, and a trending list. Moving over to the Library tab, you've got playlist, songs, albums, artists, liked songs, list of artists and albums, create a new playlist. And now if we look at the visuals of when the music is playing, you've got the album art, background color adapted based on the color of the art, like and dislike, title and artist, shuffle, previous, pause, next, loop, and a scrubber to go backwards and forwards. You've got up next for the tabs at the bottom, lyrics, and related tabs. You can also switch the song to video mode at the top of the screen. And here are all the options when you click the 3 dots at the top corner. So I'm going to go into the pros and cons of using YouTube Music. So the first pro I'd like to mention is I'm actually genuinely surprised that the music recommendations better than I expected. I've used Spotify for about 7-8 years and I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's been a great experience, and the recommendations have been spot on. However, the difference with YouTube Music, it recommends old songs from the past, which is something I've been missing and I've really enjoyed, because I've always liked the recommendations when I watch YouTube video. Whenever you select a song, it generates a playlist for other songs that you may like, and the YouTube Music app does exactly the same thing. So I've been listening to music that I haven't heard in years, and even when using the Spotify app, I never got those recommendations. I'd also like to compare it to Apple Music, which only seemed to recommend all the new songs, but I'll get into that a little bit later. And as you can tell on my face, I didn't really like it that much. I've also found the more that I listen to YouTube Music, the better the recommendations are. Even when you play a song that you really like and you create a radio station from that it ends up picking all the songs that I genuinely enjoy listening to. Another pro I'd like to mention is the fact that I use YouTube Premium because I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I'd been using it for several years and I'd have to keep skipping the ads. So eventually I caved in and I started paying for it. It's such a more pleasant experience and I wish I did it sooner. And with that comes YouTube Music, all bundled in. So I thought, let me check this music streaming service out and I'll compare it to what I've used in the past. The next pro I'd like to talk about is the integration with the YouTube video app. I quite like the fact that whenever I play YouTube on my TV, it's great that I can see my music selection all within the same app, which is great. Before, when I didn't have YouTube Premium, I would pay for Spotify on its own or Apple Music on its own as a family plan. The YouTube Music library is probably bigger than you think. It's got 70 million songs. It's pretty much on par with the other 2 streaming services, Apple Music and Spotify. So it can't really be a deciding factor. There's also a free version with ads if you choose to take that offer just to give it a go. Another pro of YouTube Music is that the layout of the app is comparable to Spotify. So I've seen some recent updates with YouTube Music, and I must admit back in the day the user interface was a little poor, but they've really worked on ironing out all the little issues and they've made the UI a lot more slick than it ever used to be. I do believe they could work on it a little more, make further improvements, but I'm sure that's going to come with time. Looking into the cons, things I don't like as much. When you do go into the lyrics tab for when a song is playing, yes, the lyrics are all listed out, but it's not dynamic. It doesn't highlight which words are being sung or going to be sung next. So fortunately for me, it's not a big issue. I don't really read lyrics, so if that's important to you, then it's something for you to consider. The next con depends on how much you value the sound, the quality of the sound. So I have noticed the quality of YouTube Music is slightly lower than Spotify and Apple Music. Now, I think you'd have to be an audiophile to really be bothered by it and for you to consider a different music streaming app. But for me, once you start listening to it, you don't really notice. It's only if you compare it side by side. But overall, it's not a deal breaker for me, even though I value the quality of sound. Another con is the fact that I'm part of the Apple ecosystem. So I own a stereo pair of HomePods as part of my TV. And unfortunately, YouTube Music isn't supported on the HomePods when using Siri commands. So what I do instead is just AirPlay it across, and it seems to work just fine. However, there is a very slight lag when you're connecting and maybe when you're changing tracks, or when you're playing the music, there's no lag whatsoever and it plays perfectly. One of the little con with YouTube Music is music may come out sooner on Spotify and Apple Music than it does on YouTube Music. However, eventually it's going to come out on YouTube Music. I'm not sure how much longer you would have to wait, but if you're someone who likes to listen to the latest music, then Spotify or Apple Music is the better choice. Another con about YouTube Music is the fact that it doesn't have podcasts integrated with it as it does for Spotify. However, I actually do prefer podcasts to be in a separate app, which is what I use, Apple Podcasts on my iPhone. Now I'd like to just talk about YouTube Music compared to Spotify and Apple Music. So as I said earlier, Spotify I've been using for several years. Apple Music I used for about a year, and YouTube Music I've been using it as my main music streaming service for about 6 months now. I think it's important for me to provide an explanation of why I've chosen YouTube Music and not gone back to the other apps. So first of all, when it comes to Spotify, probably is the best quality, the most slickest interface and top dog when it comes to music streaming services. And I was on the Duo plan, which is just myself and my wife, so it was slightly cheaper than the family plan. But like I said earlier, it didn't really recommend old songs, and it's only when you start listening to the older songs you realize how much you miss them, and it evokes emotion. It makes you happy and reminds you of the past, because we all associate songs to moments and times from our past. With Apple Music, obviously if you're part of the Apple ecosystem, it'd be a good choice to make. However, even though I found it very frustrating because the music recommendation was pretty poor. It came up with songs that I wouldn't want to listen to, and it was all genres I didn't even prefer for some reason. I tried to give it a good amount of time. I gave it 1 year, but it just kept letting me down, and I ended up switching it off most of the time. So with YouTube Music, I'm finding the music library is on par with the other two. It's part of the premium package anyway for YouTube video. The music recommendation I'm really enjoying. It's great that you can watch a video on your phone quite easily, and it can be quite sentimental listening and looking at videos, some that you may have never even seen from back in the day. So YouTube Music, overall, I'm really enjoying the experience. If you're heavily into YouTube video, I think it's 100% worth just using YouTube Music to see how it goes. And in terms of all the other cons, none of them are an issue anymore, because I'm getting to listen to good music at a good quality, and I get to watch some cool videos as well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up and a subscribe, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.